Now, what is the definition of cold calling? Cold calling is when you are calling a prospect that you've never had an interaction with. So a cold calling could be calling someone directly from a list, a phone list that you buy or that you develop from the internet, or from someone that you emailed and you notice that they opened up your email message, so that now you can actually go out there and call them and follow up after they opened your email. So there are 3 different options for you to find people to cold call for you. The first one is to hire a full-time virtual assistant from the Philippines or any other country that can use their Skype account to make outbound phone calls. Below, I've included a link for Skype for how much it costs to make outbound phone calls with them. It roughly costs you $3 a month. The biggest thing is that they have to have a fast internet connection and a very good headset for them to use. I've also included a link here for the headsets that I have my people use. They're very good quality, they're very clear, and they're made specifically for Skype. So you can check the link below. Also, another way to find people who have experience in cold calling is by going to Online Jobs PH. And now this is still within the hiring full-time virtual assistants from the Philippines. You go to Online Jobs PH and click on Advanced Search. And I've included the link below, and you're able to find all the candidates who have a history of working with outbound phone calls. The second way to find people to make cold calls for you is to hire a freelancer from Odesk, and you can pay them on an hourly rate. Now, the nice thing about this is most people don't need someone full-time. For example, you might have anywhere between 2 to 5 hours on a weekly basis for cold calling. So you're not really going to need to go out there and hire someone full-time to make cold calls for you. So hiring on an hourly basis is very good. Now, on Odesk, here's a link below, and it shows you all the people who have a history of working on cold call projects, and also gives you their ratings. The third option that you can use to find people to cold call for you is this website called Outbounders, and I love using them. These are people who are in the US or in other countries who love to cold call for you. And you can hire them on an hourly basis, on a flat fee per hour. You can also hire them on a success basis, which means you can pay them a commission or a combination of both. Now, these are people that's what they do all day. And one of the things I want you to consider is when you are hiring someone to do cold calling for you, no matter what country you're in, you can still hire people who are native to your country. So for example, in my case, in the US, I may not necessarily want someone from the Philippines calling. I can hire someone between $7 to $10 an hour to call directly from the US, and also maybe provide them an additional bonus if they get a sale for me. And you can get US quality people that have perfect English to do phone calls for you. This will only cost you about $35 to $50 for their time. So that should be very feasible for you. One of the things that you want to do is when you are hiring people to cold call for you is you want to hire people for the tasks that you have at hand. If you're hiring someone on an hourly basis, that means you don't need a virtual assistant that's great at cold calling for you. Just hire that one person to make those 3 to 5 hours of phone calls on a weekly basis. You pay them a little bit more, but you get better quality. So that's something to consider. Outbounders has 2 different services available from them. They can actually hire and manage your cold callers for you, but I think there's a certain number of people you need to hire, or they have their website that you can hire independent people that can work for you. They also have a service for auto dialers for you, which is a service that it dials the numbers for them after every phone call, which makes the cold caller more efficient. Now, no matter what website you choose or whatever of these 3 different ways of hiring people you choose, the first thing that you want to do is you want to test your salespeople. And you can use Qzx software, which is the software, the links provided below, to actually have them screen capture their screen and read a script that you provided them. Qzx will allow you to record 5 minutes of audio, and you can say, hey, listen, I want you to read this script, record yourself reading the script, and now you're able to evaluate the quality of their voice, the inflections, how trustworthy they seem. Now, if you have never written a cold calling script before, there's a website called Fiverr.com, and I'm going to provide a link below. Here's a gentleman who goes out and creates, you can buy tips about cold calling from him, but also he will write your telemarketing script for you. He'll ask you what's your product, what you're trying to do, and he will write the script for you. Now, once he does that, then you can provide that script to the people who are planning to work for you, have them read that script using Qzx, and then they can send that link to you. And you're able now to determine if you like the sound of their voice and how well they're able to read the script. Now, the last thing I'm going to cover here is providing you a link for my cold calling tracking. There's some psychology behind what I do. The first thing I do is I always do A/B testing. Now, what is A/B testing? Is I want to compare one script with another script. So, for example, I can have script 1. I can have them make 50 phone calls using that script. And then I can have them make 50 phone calls using a second script. And I can see which one gets me more appointments and which one gets me more sales. Remember, don't do anything based on your gut instinct. You can test based on your gut instinct, but you want to be able to make decisions based on actual analytics, on actual tracking numbers. The other thing I A/B test is their name. Now, for example, I have an odd name, Gonzalo Paternoster. There's nothing wrong with that name, but if I'm going to be calling places who have a little bit of prejudice against, minorities or Latinos, of course, I do not want to be using my name. So you can test out different names for your cold calling people. So, for example, if they're calling a place that an ethnic name like mine would not do well, you can actually have them, test out names like John Taylor or John Smith, and see if that has higher conversion rates. Another thing that I've tested and it's done very well is to test men versus women cold callers. Sometimes in certain industries, women get a higher response rate than men. So I would have you test their names, test men versus females in cold calling, and also test the scripts. And by doing this, you're able to use real numbers to determine what works best for you. So that is exactly how I hire and manage and test for cold calling. Also, in my Excel sheet I provide you, you're able to enter your numbers, and it will provide you analytics of what scripts are working better for you. All right, so now we're ready to move on to the next section.